1075 The Diamond, your home for hip-hop and R&B.
1075 The Diamond, DJ AR. Today we got Drew, the owner and founder of ATMOSFERE and 570Exotics. How you doing, my guy?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Hey, living, working, another day.
Working, grinding,
You know what I'm
striving.
saying? Yeah, absolutely. So I want to just jump right into it. Can you tell me where you're from and everything like that?
So originally, I'm from a small town around Scranton. Grew up here, born and raised, but, I was always going in and out of the area, So, I definitely have a lot of influence, going different places, but, just born and raised here.
What's the little town, if you don't mind me asking?
It's a little town.
Okay.
It's a little town.
So I met you because of ATMOSFERE. That was probably like early spring this year.
Yeah.
And we've done a lot of work and stuff together.
A lot of work.
But I want to start with 570Exotics.
Yep.
I got to come to your store the one day, and I'm going to tell you something. I'm a Fallout fan.
Thank you.
So when I got to get the Nuka-Cola Quantum,
Yep.
not only did it smack, but just actually seeing the experience of your store and everything is so dope. Can you tell me how you even got inspired to start selling exotic snacks in the first place?
Yeah, so it started back in COVID, 2020, 2021. I was working for Verizon. I was doing sales, and then I was doing telecom, busting my ass, 85-hour weeks. Wasn't happy. Good pay, but I just was not happy. I wasn't living. I was working, just is what it was. So, didn't go to college, COVID. I had my certifications and all, cybersecurity, networking, and, I was just doing what I was doing. And, it just hit me, one day I was just I'm not living, I'm not happy right now. I'm just not really doing too much. And so, that it didn't happen gradually or it didn't just happen immediately, rather, with opening 570Exotics. It was just a gradual process of all right, let me explore my options, let me see what else I can do. I was always doing smaller side projects. I was producing for people, engineering for people.
Yeah.
I was traveling. I was doing a little bit here and there, but I was you know what, I'm from this area, let me try to find something that nobody's ever seen out here, bring it about. But, it wasn't ever my first intention to, bring up a retail store. So I started online, and originally I had a friend who lived over in Thailand, still does, moved over there, but he's from the U.S. originally. And, we went our own separate ways, but we still had each other's Instagrams, online contacts. He reached out to me one day. I was like, hey, what have you been up to? How have you been? We just got back in talking, and he was like, yeah, I've been doing this over here, shipping snacks online, just doing wholesale, and it's really getting hot over there in the U.S. right now. You should look into it. And it was a lot of stores on the West Coast that were starting to pop up, and that whole foreign soda wave was going crazy, where people were mixing things and their the Japanese Fantas, or the crushed cream sodas. So those were going hot. There was a point where there were certain cans, the white peach from Japan, which I have up in shop.
Yeah,
they were going for $20, $25 a piece, one drink.
Wow.
Yeah, they were going crazy. And so for me, it was more so I always loved different snacks, because I would just order stuff online. And then once we got back into contact, he was always sending me just smaller boxes of stuff. I was I have to show more people, because I'd always have friends over. I was showing them things, and hey, you ever see a fried chicken flavored Lay's, or a steak flavored chip?
Yeah.
And they're like, what the hell? So, it just, we started the online, and from the online, and then, just building the Instagram, and, just going hard with it. After, about a year and a half, I quit Verizon. I started the in-store, and, we're kind of here now, three and a half years later.
That's dope, especially with, like you said, something in this area that we haven't had, because it's a very unique business. I've never gone into a store and seen, you don't even expect these brands to have these different varieties of foods and snacks. Yep. So when you get to see them, it's wow, because otherwise, you would never be able to try them, because you're not going to Pakistan randomly to go get these bag of chips, or you're going to Thailand, for example. So I think it's really cool. What I ate was good. You know what I mean? So I really liked it. You know, you had mentioned a couple things in there. Real quick before I ask that though, what's your favorite snack you've gotten in the store so far?
It's so hard. Like I've seen so many snacks, tried so many snacks. I have to like break it down. Like
Okay.
chip wise, best flavor I've had were truffled flavor chips from they were Lay's. They were from Thailand.
Okay.
They're from Thailand. I don't know if you've ever tried like real truffle before.
No.
No, or like even truffle fries.
Okay.
They taste pretty similar. It's like a real like earthy, like sweet almost too, but like just really unique flavor. But somehow Lay's figured out how to like nail that flavor just 1-to-1. But that hands down, favorite flavor. Drink wise, there's just so many.
So one of the things that you had talked about was, you said you were doing side projects,
Yep.
producing and engineering. Do you still produce or engineer?
So I've been inactive for like 2-3 years now,
Okay.
almost, like slowly going back in, now locally, I don't work, it's just real hard out here, especially for, the sound that I create. It's just, I haven't found, too many people that I've been able to say like, yeah, let's work. Like, like our sound identity matches. It's
Yeah.
on, a certain wavelength where we could come together and it would make sense. So for me, like it's a lot of traveling when I have been on that.
Okay.
But, it was, the last, I was really working on a project was like 2021.
2021? It's a couple years now.
Yeah.
When did you start originally producing and engineering?
So originally started producing like 2016, 2017.
Okay.
So like that peak like SoundCloud
Yeah.
era just came around. Like Uzi's the #1 hottest artist. Playboy Cardi's going up. Who else was there? Like Lil Pump, Trippie Redd,
Yeah,
like
absolutely,
all
yep.
of them.
Yep.
And it was just that new angle of rap that came out. And I feel like a lot of people in my age, especially, they're growing up in that era. And even still, like that's the music that is nostalgic to people.
Yeah.
And so like that really is crowned of being my era. And, from there, that's where like my sound initially developed from.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's crazy to think that's basically almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
that SoundCloud era when it came out, it was so fresh. It was so new at the
Very.
time. It was unlike anything hip hop was doing.
Yep.
And it was just such a fresh of breath there. And it's unfortunate that a lot of the big artists from that time period unfortunately passed away.
Yep.
Because I think there were some real big, stars and
Oh, for
bright
sure.
spots from
X, Juice, Lil Peep,
Yeah.
Sad Frosty, PNB Rock, so many, rest in peace. But, just so many names that, aren't here with us.
that. Right. Yeah. So what were some of your influences? Maybe not just from the SoundCloud era, but just growing up in general with music. Because obviously with Atmosphere and everything, you're a big music guy.
Definitely.
Especially hip hop.
Yep.
Can you tell me about some of your influences?
Yeah, influences, it was very versatile growing up, like #1 was, it was always Uzi, Lil Uzi, and just like the spacey, melodic, even like sometimes like glow beats, like that, that's my sound right there, and that was my heaviest influence by far. But like even you had like the Migos, Future was starting to really come up, he had, I think DS2 was already out by then, but like, 2013, 2014, but like, that era, 2015, 2016, 2017, like Future he was playing in every single club.
Oh, yeah.
All those people. But even like geez, who else do you have? Lil Baby, like he was starting to come up. Juice WRLD, like he was starting to come up. Geez, even like even more like that underground sound too, like Sad Frosty, like Lil Peep a little bit,
Bones and stuff from that era?
Bones. I wasn't too like heavy on Bones. Like I know who that is, but it was never like my music.
Yeah.
Like a little bit of Snot was in there too.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like I even had like older, like inspiration as well, like older music I'd listen to, like, very heavy on like A Tribe Called Quest, Big L, a lot
Yeah.
of like that lyrical inspiration for sure too.
That's dope. That's dope. Yeah, I'm very similar in the sense of that, because when I was 19, I want to go ahead and say that's when the SoundCloud era was really starting
Yep.
to go, and that's when I started heavily producing. I started producing in 2014.
Okay.
For sure. That's like when I started, but 17, or let's just say 16, 17, 18 is like, it was just different. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like that era.
It was just a fresh breath, you know. Like you had the OGs hated it. You know?
They hated it when it started.
Hated it, you know.
Yeah.
It just music really went from like the you know, the lyricism being the craft, to, you know, beats really starting to become the you know,
forefront
like the
somewhat.
forefront, the woven string of you know, music, of, you know, developing that sound.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think it was good. Now, if we look to where rap is today, and I've said it plenty of times on this show. I've said it on the radio.
In shambles.
These rappers suck.
Yep.
I got no other word
Agreed.
to say. They half of them, not even half, like 75% of them are whack, and all the best artists today are still from the blog era.
Yep.
Like that's insane to me, because even when you had the blog era to the SoundCloud era, that was only like a 5-year gap.
Oh, for
and
sure.
And you had these new stars come out. Bro, there's nobody taking that next step to like stardom.
No.
You got like a couple people, but even them, they're like, I can't say Cardi B because she's been around since 2017.
No, there's a blueprint, you know, there's a blueprint to the game, and there's so many people that they don't want to follow it.
No.
You know, they love the aesthetic, you know, I love being a rapper, but they don't like putting that work in and applying that pressure, because it's a saturated game. Let's be so real. It's a saturated game. Everybody wants to be a rapper, you know, and if you really want to carve yourself out, you have to carve out yourself. You have to make yourself different. You have to be applying more of that pressure. You have to be releasing more music videos. You have to be doing more press releases. You have to be in more rooms in different places, different states, and getting your name out there. And I feel like that's what so many people ignore and try to sit in one place and try to become that guy. And they see how it works.
Yeah, a lot of artists get complacent, especially when, you know, they feel they can just stay in their hometown or whatever and do what it is. And especially the market we come from, we're in a medium market. We're far from a big market, but we're not a little market.
Yeah, you know, we could be in Kansas right now.
Right,
you know, we could be in, you know, so many places more where it's, you know, not much going on. Small town USA. Don't get me wrong. We are in small town USA, but we also are on the Eastern Seaboard. We're 2 hours from New York, 2 hours from Philly, 3 from Baltimore, 4 from Washington, D.C., 5, 6 from Boston. We have so much opportunity available out here. And, you know, I feel like that's what's most important. If you want to become an artist, you want to become a producer, social media is key, you know, of establishing yourself as a brand and, you know, getting your name out and, you know, getting your sound out or your craft, everything. But you also have to be out there and be playing the game, putting in the work.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure, definitely. So we gonna get back into that a little bit more in a second here, but we got to pay the bills. 107.5 Diamonds. 107.5 The Diamond, DJ AR. We are back. Drew is still in the building. So now I want to get in the atmosphere.
Let's run it.
And I have the first question I want to ask, because we had Kev, Middleman Podcast, up here.
Yep.
One of your partners with it.
Of course.
And I forgot to ask this question. What made you guys spell it the way you do?
Ooh, what made me so that the name, the logo, that one was me. I was sitting in the chair in the studio in Encore.
Okay.
We're all sitting in the room, all atmosphere, and we're like, what do we call this thing? Like, what do we call it? And I'm just like quiet in the chair for like 10, 15 minutes, just like deep diving on. I'm like, what the fuck do we call this? And I'm like just thinking of like what is it, like, you know, the space, the vibe, the aesthetic, the atmosphere. And as soon as like that clicked, I can't remember if somebody said like, you know, the atmosphere to make that, you know, that bell ring.
Right, yeah.
But essentially that was the bell that rung. I was like, atmosphere. But the way that it was spelled,
Very unique.
Very, yeah. So I do have a reason for that.
Okay.
Oh, man. I don't know if I should say that. I don't know if I should say that.
Give us as much as you can.
Oh, man. Man. I'll tell you off cam. I'll tell you off cam. Yeah. I'll tell you off cam. Maybe we'll tell you next time. But
fair enough.
Yeah. There's a reason.
I wanted to ask that because I'm like, yo, it is very unique and it's different and it stands out. And it's dope because I also, you know, I say this to DJ Macklemore, I say this to the other guys at the station and everything. One of the best things that we did over the course of our first year was sponsor the festival this year because the amount of doors it's opened up for us, the connection and the different artists we've been able to see, and what you guys are doing with hip hop in Northeast PA, Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, Hazelton, Stroudsburg, Williamsport, the whole 570. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Bringing it out. So I just want to give, the flowers to you
course,
and you guys
much love.
At Atmosphere and everything. So I guess I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
What inspired in general to start a music festival?
So the inspiration, one, I always loved music. Loved music. And once, I got to the age of like, I'm able to travel, I'm able to just get on a plane solo, do my own thing. I've always been going to music festivals.
Yeah.
Whether it's in Florida, California, New York, I've just always been going to music festivals. I love them. I love the energy. I love just, come together with like-minded people or just people that, are on that same wavelength. And like, it's just a vibe, and then going there and like, me being, a producer and engineer and just, somebody that loves business and just networking, the networking opportunities at those places are just insane.
Absolutely.
I can't tell you the amount of doors that have been opened for myself and others, that I've been able to pass through, just because of somebody I met, just chilling out with them, at a music festival, rocking together to the same music or, just being next to each other, standing next to each other. So the inspiration for it really came from a couple artists that hit me up originally of like saying, hey, like we want to do a show. They would come into the snack shop and, they always show love, and they were not from like this part of like the valley, this part of PA. So, for them to just, come do a show, like pop up, it would have been a lot harder just, on like their own announcement. So they wanted to have somebody who had one, due diligence, but two, somebody who could at least open that door for them, broker that, get them into a venue and, make it work, so it makes sense for everybody.
Yeah.
And so we got to the planning stages and, that was the meeting before we, came up with the name. Okay. So didn't even have a name yet. And, we're coming together trying to, put this bill together, and compromises just didn't come together, unfortunately, on it. There was just disagreements of who was going to be on the bill for just certain reasons that didn't work out. And so that way split of the original of intention, or the original intention of what was supposed to happen, split. Okay. But I was still sitting there like, it opened a door for me of like, there's opportunity out here for hip hop, for rap, that, people listen to it, with the amount of people that are moving here from New York, from Philly, from New Jersey, from all over the place, but even people that are from here who love the music, love the culture, but there's just no representation or stage for it out here. Yeah. And so for me, myself, especially, who, produce, engineer for, a plethora of artists, rappers, and none of them are from here. Right. And it's because there's just no, bread and butter out here. There's no platform for anybody to just come together and, one, figure out the playing field. Mm-hmm. Who can I work with? Who can we rise together with and make it happen with? And, also with the crabs in a bucket energy doesn't help out here, but still, there wasn't a platform for it. So I was like, what, let's see what can be done. And, originally, even back up a little bit, when that opportunity initially did come to me, first person I called was Mr. Kevin Martinez, the middleman. Yeah. When we first met, he had mentioned to me, I want to do a festival one day. Never mentioned what kind of festival. Right. Just said, I want to do a festival one day. I believe he even might have said that on our podcast episode. Okay. When we talked there. And that was, our first introduction to each other. And so from there, I remember that call. So called him up. He said he's down, and he made calls to Steez then. And then I believe that's when Steez got Kelly on. Okay. And so from there, that was really like the start of Atmosphere.
Wow. It's crazy how that comes, it comes together. Someone says, I want to do that. So you call him, and then he calls, and it brings the team together, and it keeps it moving forward. That first year, could you tell me what it was like when you finally, okay, here we go, it's happening. Could you take me through some of the process of getting the artist to the venue?
Yeah, 100%. So, first thing was, who's going to be on this bill. So, year one was a lot of homework. It still is, who is out here, who's making noise, who's serious, who's not just out here for an image, who's not out here for a facade, trying to be somebody, who's out here because they love music, they have passion for it, and they're working. They're striving, trying to make themselves a different cut than everyone around them in the game of, all right, how am I gonna, find these people? So, it was really just like Instagram searching, figuring out people, networking, and out here, as I said, there's not really much of a platform.
No.
There's not really one room where you can go and like just, everybody's an artist,
Right.
or, there's a plethora, or you can just go get tapped in with people. So that's what makes it harder out here. So, it was just figuring out the playing field.
Yeah.
So once we figured that out, it was really just communication of like, hey, we're doing this, we want to extend this opportunity to you, see what's up.
Right.
And so, sometimes, you just have to wait a couple days. Sometimes you don't get a response at all.
Yeah.
People think they're too good for you.
Yeah.
And so, it was really just communication, just trying to onboard these people, and just make sure that we have a streamlined process to make sure that it makes sense for both of us and that, there's no miscommunications and that, we have everything received from their end, music, any sort of, stage details that they would like incorporated into their set, et cetera. And so it's really just trying to line up all those smaller details that build that bigger picture.
Okay. Yeah, I think, like you said, there's not a lot in this area, especially when it comes to the hip hop scene. So having that platform for these artists, it's super dope. And I mean, any of the artists that have the opportunity, I definitely recommend to them that they should hop on it. Because I'm thinking back to, do you remember Levels?
Yes. Yep.
They had a couple things. Do you remember Alibaba's?
I don't.
Okay, so Alibaba's out here in Wilkes-Barre was a nightclub, and they would bring a lot of rappers.
For sure. I do remember it, yeah. Because, oh, geez, who came out? I'm pretty sure, like, Lil TJ came out here. A Boogie, he came out here.
Yeah, they would get, so some of the biggest names they brought was, like, Cardi B, Lil Durk, A Boogie, and then the artists would have the opportunity to open, like Cells, someone I work with, he opened for practically all of them. And just having that opportunity was so great. And then once that left, it was like there was nothing.
Exactly.
And there's just this this hole that needs to be filled. And this area is late to the party. That's the word I like to use.
100%.
Yeah.
And, especially, you have to have that. Like, you have to kind of have that pedestal out here to bring somebody out here to kick the motion because, unfortunately, there isn't somebody out here that we can say in this field,
right,
in hip hop and rap, where we can say, that person, they made it out the 570.
Yeah.
From Scranton, from Wilkes-Barre, they made it out the 570.
There is
nobody yet.
No, not yet.
Nobody has, claimed that trophy yet. And so it's just a matter of time. And, until somebody out here makes that collaboration with that one person and it does put it on the map, it will then follow. But until then, we are definitely a dark spot on the map.
Absolutely. And it's just, like you said, it's a matter of time of when and who. So who are some of the artists out of all the performers you've had, not only just at the festivals, but the smaller pop-ups with the lounges and things of that nature, that really stuck out to you?
There's quite a few. There's quite a few. I don't want to play no sides here.
Of course, no.
This is all love. People that stuck out because, for me, having that ear for music, being a producer, being an engineer, it is harder, out here trying to find that, the sound, or having the recognition of like, oh shit, like he got it.
Right.
Or like, like stay on that path, just, another couple years, like I'm going to start seeing you on TV. I'm going to start seeing you every.
Yeah.
There's a couple people, but, sound wise and, just, musically wise, Sullivan,
okay.
He's always working, always releasing, always working with people too. Filthy, Nick Mira, Internet Money. We were talking about that before we went live.
Yeah.
He's always working. Who else do we have? Esman Tyreek.
Yep.
Always working, always traveling. He's always doing his thing. Much respect. Psycho.
Yep.
Just had him on.
Yeah, Psycho.
That boy is working.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
he's collabing. He knows the game.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what you need to do. You know, you need to be on top of that social media game. That's the era we live in.
Yeah, I honestly, like, and I'll even say, and it's not even trying to give everybody, but like, yo, everybody's been dope, especially the events I've been DJing for. Like, we just did Kai Unique in Stroudsburg.
Kai Unique as well.
Bro, fire.
We'll have
You know
him
what I
back on the 13th for our Winter House event.
And then we just had Kreese Cooper up here.
Kreese? How did I forget Kreese?
Yeah, like-
Jeez. See, my mind's just running short.
but-
Kreese is a day one. I'm sorry to cut you off real quick, but Kreese, no, he's a day one. You know, he's been with Atmosphere since we started. He headlined our first festival. That is energy like nobody else out here.
Yeah.
Nobody, like, I'll say that, and, you know, respectfully, disrespectfully to anybody, nobody has stepped to Kreese Cooper's energy on stage performing.
I
the
agree.
way that he, like, the crowd just draws to it. They draw to it, and like he gets them moving,
Right.
You know, and you need to have that energy.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, especially if that's the type of music you're making. You know, you want to get people hyped up, and so like that's what I don't like seeing. You know, is when you have somebody, they make a hype song or they make hype music, and they're on stage and
They're not giving that same energy.
They're not giving that same energy. It's like you gotta hype these people up,
Right.
But no, Kreese, you know, flowers to him because
Absolutely.
he absolutely kills it. You know, he absolutely kills the game. You know, represents the Pocono strongly, as well
for
as
sure.
Tyreek, and he has his boy J24K.
Yeah, he was up here too.
They're always working,
Bro,
always working. Much respect.
They came up and we were doing an interview with Kreese, and he brought Jay up, and they went back and forth on a freestyle.
Yep.
Like, just the way they did it, one take too, it was crazy. Like,
Insanity.
everything about it.
Yep.
And a lot of the guys, like, everybody's been dope. And I don't think I even take it as like, yo, we think this guy's that, because everyone's been dope. But these people have stood out, so it should inspire the rest to be like,
100%.
yo, I gotta step it up.
Yep.
Because a lot of these guys, they have the talent to do it, but they gotta step it up. Because
definitely.
what if someone, you don't know who walks in that room? I was having a conversation yesterday with Depp, and he was talking about, yo, like, what if someone walks in the room and they want to invest in you, and you half-assed it that day?
Exactly.
You phoned it in.
Yep.
You just blew an opportunity. Because you
Exactly.
don't know who's in the room. You don't know that dude in the corner. You don't know who this, so.
Yep. You don't know who people know either.
Right.
And that's, I feel like, a very big misconception out here.
Yeah.
You know, people don't know who you know or who your friends are.
Exactly.
You know, and so that's one thing I definitely pride myself on is, you know, you're only good as your friends around you.
That's true. That's very
And
true.
so, you know, if you don't have people around you who are constantly, you know, on your ass trying to, you know, get you to push your ambition, trying to push your creativity, trying to push your imagination, it's hard to.
Yeah.
It's hard to when you don't have that, you know.
I've seen someone say the one time, they said, your net worth is your network.
Yep. 100% agree.
I agree with that as well.
100% agreed.
Yeah, because you could sit in your room all day and make beats, and you do nothing with them. You go nowhere. You're just a bedroom producer.
Exactly.
And you could be the dopest thing on earth.
Yep.
And it's that one guy that goes outside, and his beats might be okay, and he has everything.
He's talking to people.
He's talking to people. He got this opportunity's coming up. This coming up. Same thing with rappers. It's like, you know, just being outside. Like
Exactly.
You've said that a couple times.
Talk
in
to
this interview.
people,
Yeah.
network, you know, collaborate. Don't be afraid to say hi. You know, I feel like we live in an era with social media being such a presence where people are almost afraid to talk to each other, you know,
Right.
just one-to-one, you know,
Yeah.
and just being able to chop it up. You know, everybody really acts weird towards each other, very cliquish. You know, it's like, oh, you're not, you know, I don't know you. I don't want to have a conversation with you. Or they don't want to have that conversation with you
Yeah.
until they know who you know.
Right.
I've had that happen to me so many times,
Yeah.
especially as a producer, as an engineer. They don't know the rooms, people who I've worked with, and, you know, then they figure it out later, and then they want to come back.
And they want to come back. And
And
it's
it's
too late.
funny.
Yeah, that's the one thing about this game is too, it's very, what's the word? Let's just use fake. Let's just use it.
Fake,
Yeah,
yep,
it is.
yep.
It is
Crabs
what
in
it
a
is.
bucket.
Yeah, it
Crabs
is
in
what
a
it is.
bucket.
Like, when I go to talk to somebody or I'm working and I'm in an event like this, if I hear something, I'm like, that's dope. Then I just go, oh, I'm gonna go talk to him. I'll go do this. You know what I mean? And if the person's a good dude, it makes it way better. Because the dude could be fire. and I go up to him and he's an ass, I'm over it.
Yep, I'm walking away. I'm not interested. I'm not interested.
I don't need no
I've had that
Hollywood,
happen.
bro. You know what I'm saying?
People like to they like to boil their opportunity, or they like to what should I say? They try to take them, or they try to argue the best deal, or they try to argue or compromise the best price.
Yeah.
So, you'll have people who, you're trying to work something with, talk, and, trying to just make something happen. And, because say like they showed that attitude, or because, they want to lowball you on, what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's just good. They're going to blow the opportunity for themselves, which is right there.
Right. Absolutely.
Right there. Can't tell you how many times people I've just, because it's not worth it for me.
Yeah.
Not worth it.
No, it really not be. So we're going to hop into a quick song real quick. We'll be right back.
Let's go. Pay the bills. Pay the bills.
107.5 Diamond. 107.5 Diamond, we are back. So let me ask you, I want to know, what's the craziest DM or something somebody's got trying to be on Atmosphere?
Craziest DM. What do you mean by crazy? As terms of somebody hit us up, just, who they are, or just being, an asshole, or just coming in heavy with just disrespect?
Whatever one. You tell
Whatever
me.
one.
Yeah.
Ooh.
What stands out the most to you? Even if it's somebody, some business etiquette where people just hit you up.
I got one. All right. Won't say their name.
That's fair.
Certain artists out here hit us up wanting to come onto our platform. And we onboarded them all right, bet, we'll lock in a spot, okay, lock in a deposit here because, and here's one thing I actually break real quick. I would love to speak on real quick.
Okay.
Speaking of a deposit. So, there's a lot of talk out here lately, a lot of subliminals too, from past partners of, the disagreement of charging artists to be on a platform. So
sneak dissers.
All
right.
And so for me, I'd love to speak on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Floor's yours.
So if you're doing a showcase, no investment, you got a free room, free building, low overhead, it makes sense.
Yeah.
You're not charging anybody. Or it would sound funny if you were to charge them.
Right.
Okay. Making sure I'm not wrong there.
Yeah.
So you want to have people, you want to build a community, you want to have people in a room, get people there, and if you have that, low overhead, why are you going to charge them? If you have a overhead, let's talk the Ritz. I'll speak on our personal overhead.
Okay.
So the Ritz Theater, we're talking about $4,000.
It's hefty.
$4,000 to get into that building for a day, lay a security deposit down, and just to be there. Right. That's not talking about...
You're getting in the door.
Yep, that's just getting in the door.
Nothing else, yeah.
I'm not talking about anything else. Yeah. I'm not talking about security. I'm not talking about paying a headliner. I'm not talking about any food services. I'm not talking about anything else.
Yeah. Just opening
$4,000.
Yeah.
Tell me where that $4,000 is coming from. Please.
It's either out of pocket or sponsors, but if you don't got none yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you're a brand new platform.
Right.
You're a business on paper, an LLC, and you need to build capital for said business.
Yeah.
You're not going to sit here and offer free slots to a festival that you are dumping capital in, thousands upon thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And be giving free slots to people who are not even going to fill 5 seats.
Right.
10 seats.
It'd be different if the artist is selling tickets.
If they were selling tickets, 100%.
Yeah. And
we'll even say straight up, or I'll say straight up, we offer a kickback program for all of our festival events.
Okay.
So, we give the opportunity for artists to sell their tickets on their own, as well as, you could come online and, you purchase it through, our website and everything.
Yeah.
But for our physical tickets, the only way to get that is to grab it from an artist.
Okay.
And so for each ticket that is sold, there's a commission off of it. So that lays an incentive to sell your tickets.
Absolutely, yeah.
So as long as you sell your tickets, you don't pay for a slot with Atmosphere. You pay $0. Actually, in fact, you might be paid.
Yeah, you might even make some money.
You might make money, but it's just about what you're putting in. And if you're not going to sell tickets or you're not going to push initiative for your own sake, take Atmosphere out of it. if you're not going to push initiative for your own sake, for your own career that you're trying to get up in a world like we talked about that is saturated, where we're in a game where everybody wants to become an artist for the show, you have to set yourself different.
Yeah.
So if, you know, or you have to show that initiative, and you have to want it. So if you're not doing anything different, you're not pushing yourself, you're not pushing your brand, because at the end of the day, you are a company.
Yep.
You are a brand.
Yep.
If you don't push that, what are you doing?
Right. You know, I think a lot of people too, when it comes to artists, it's a very personal thing. You know what I mean? So people make their music, and a lot of them, you know, put their personal things into it. But you're a business at the end of the day. You're selling a product.
Most definitely. And you have to, you know, make it where it makes sense.
Right.
So obviously, you know, if we have a headliner coming in that, you know, thousands, 10,000s, hundreds of thousands of people have heard of, have seen, have, you know, witnessed their presence in some sort of format, whether it's social media or, you know, going to a concert or, you know, listening to their music, obviously that person's going to have to be paid. That's just called business at the end of the day. So when, you know, you have people that, you know, they're just getting their start, but they feel the entitlement that they deserve to be paid.
They ain't going far in this business.
It's not going to fly.
No.
Especially in this field.
Yeah. And it's a business at the end of the day. And if the artist just takes it serious and they put their all into it, and they're being personable and everything of that nature, everything else is going to work out.
Most definitely.
There takes some steps of things like getting on a festival or doing events like this, where sometimes you have to, they don't know you.
Yep.
Why should we even put you on this bill?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So getting the opportunity to not only make your money back, but make some, like even make money.
Yep.
I don't know what the problem is. So you
no,
know
exactly.
I mean? Yeah, I don't.
So, you know, especially when, you know, and some people might not see that, you know, the same vision that I might have for, you know, what we're trying to accomplish here as Atmosphere, and where I would say I see this brand and this company in 5-10 years. That might be way different than what, you know, the general perception would be from everybody. Exactly. But, you know, I know that in order for that to be done, you know, there has to be a checklist. Right. But to spin back on what was one of the most outrageous interactions.
Yeah, let me know.
Okay. So we had somebody who was going to be on the festival this year.
Okay.
Actually, I can't remember if it was the festival or if it was, no, it was the festival, because the lounge events, nobody was charged. So those were all free performances. And so the festival, we had somebody who they put their deposit down X amount of dollars, and, you know, they were locked in. They were going to be on the festival. And then I think like 2 days later, or like a day later, they hit us up and they were like, "Hey man, can I get a refund on that deposit?" And it was weird. You know, there was like a weird tie together with it. It was like, oh, like I need to pay my baby mama, or like I need to do this.
Now artists out there, usually deposits are non-refundable.
Non-refundable,
so
exactly.
There.
But it was really like, it was because like there was a whole like reasoning, like a whole paragraph reasoning of like, oh man, like I need this because of this. Yeah. And like, I don't know, for me, like I don't do Indian returns, but like also, I don't like when, you know, in just business professionality, you're laying a deposit down. You don't technically get that back.
No, you're not
supposed to. As we said, non-refundable. Right. But it's just the general scheme of it, of, you know, you're going to lay a deposit down. You want to, you know, you're going to set this opportunity for yourself. Yeah. And then you're just going to say, oh, no, like, you know, never mind. I got to do this. So yeah, that I would say that was probably like one of the weirdest like interactions on that. But then you always have the plethora of people that, you know,
the yos,
the yos. Oh, geez, we were talking about that off cam. Yeah, the yos. Let's have some business etiquette, people. I'm gonna tell you guys this straightforward. As an entrepreneur, a business personnel, and just somebody, a human. Yeah. Don't hit me up with yo.
Never.
I'm not going to answer you.
Blocked.
Not even blocked. You know what? Not even blocked. I'm going to let you sit there in that request inbox forever.
Ever.
Okay? Let me know what you want. Hey, man.
Introduce yourself.
I heard this. Yeah, introduce yourself. You know, or you want to, you know, become a performer, or you want to perform on our platform. Just send me your info. I'm not going to, especially if you don't have anything on your social media, I'm not going on the deep dive myself.
Yeah, no, absolutely
Send me
not.
your discography links. Send me your press releases. Send me what you want me to see and set the precedence and set that tone,
Can I give something out there too, especially for artists that might not know what one is? Something that would be really good to have is an EPK.
Run it.
That would be so much better if you sent us an electronic press kit to where we can get everything on, even if it's 3 pages.
They don't know what that is,
They
though.
don't. Yeah, it would make life way easier.
And so that's another part of of working out here that I've noticed is the professionality between artists. Is that for the most part it's all new to them when they see a piece of paper. When they see a piece of paper of an agreement of their obligations, or, even if it's not the festival, for that, even if it's, say, just music working with each other, people out here, they don't come with that, that professionalism. They don't have that, that brand image made. They don't have, that professional image carved out. Yeah. They still have, geez, I don't even know what you would want to call it. Just randomness on, say, like their Instagram page. Like you can't even tell that they're an artist. They don't have their links in their bio. They make it so difficult for you to know that they're an artist or to know what they're doing.
They're still running off that raw inspiration. They haven't transitioned into that full time. Let me try to take this serious.
Definitely. And there's always that exploratory stage. Right. Whatever you're doing, you cannot shit on that whatsoever.
We can't fault someone for not knowing what they don't know.
No, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. But, if you are going to be, wanting to join this game and to join this industry, or if you want to become an artist, you have to learn to
do your research.
Yeah, do your research and, do your homework. Right. Figure out what you have to do. You have to figure out the blueprint or make a blueprint. Figuring out what this guy did right and what this guy did to get him to here will make it only easier for yourself.
And artists, we talked about it before too. A lot of them, networking and getting outside. I always credit Dame Taylor and King Magnetic, 2 of the guys who were very important to where I'm at and where I'm going because of the game and the knowledge that they've gave me.
Most definitely.
Not everyone gets that luxury. I'm very blessed to have met these 2 individuals.
Definitely. A mentor is super important in any industry where you want to take over. Yeah. Where you want to fully just, take over. You want to what should I say? You want to go hard, right? Like you want to go. Number one, you want to be the most serious. You have to do that. You have to put in that homework. You have to network. You have to have a mentor, somebody who's able to give you that guidance. Yeah. Now, it's important to have a good mentor.
Absolutely, yeah.
Somebody who's not going to BS you, who's not going to just take your money for a run. Yep. You have to have somebody who's going to lay it out for you and isn't afraid of you passing them out. Right. That is the most important, because that is what I've seen so many times, is where somebody is working with somebody and they see that their protege or, the person that they're mentoring is starting to do more numbers than them or is starting to do better than them. Yeah. And then the hate starts, the animosity starts, the envy starts, the sneak dissing, the secret hating, it becomes all too prevalent, and so that is obviously the most important thing is, having that good mentor.
Yeah. And the one thing with Dame Taylor that he did for me was he would have opportunity. He was a producer. He's produced for so many people in the industry. He would have opportunities and he would just give them to me.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I mean?
dope.
That's like, you don't get that from people. Like when you have someone that's just a genuine person that wants you to succeed.
Yep. They call you up and say, hey man, I heard this opportunity come up and it's not for me. Maybe it's, it's something that I don't do. It's completely unrelated, but I just happen to hear of it. Somebody presented that to me.
Well, this guy was a dog and could do it all.
Yup. But, I've had that happen. I've had that happen so many times where, and back and forth, you know, and likewise where, you know, it just made sense. Somebody presented me with an opportunity. It, you know, wasn't, you know, something that would work out in my sake or, you know, be working out best in my sake.
Yeah.
But I've picked up that phone right after that conversation and said, hey, I just got this opportunity for you. Would you be interested?
Right.
So many times.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, it's so pivotal when you can have stuff like that in your career, and artists can't take advantage of it.
No,
you can't. You got to make sure you give it your all too. Before we wrap this up, it's a 2-part question. What's next for Drew with 570 Exotics and Atmosphere?
So as for 570 Exotics, more snacks, and more snacks.
Nice.
You know, that's really what we're running. You know, actually, it's probably the perfect place to announce this. So we are actually opening a Wilkes-Barre location.
Nice.
So that should be coming within the next couple months.
Okay.
That will be in partnership with one of my great friends, Burnside Supply. And yeah, we should have a location down here in Wilkes-Barre, Kingston in the next couple months. And it's going to be a dope space. We're looking for a muralist right now. We're going to have a dope mural inside. And it's just going to be a vibe of a shop, you know?
I'll tell you right now, real quick, before we get into the Atmosphere, we are going to be there.
Oh, most definitely.
Frequently.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
No, day one, I'm going to need you guys there. Day one, grand opening, I'm going to need
for sure.
107.5 The Diamond DJing.
We are there for
Always.
sure. No doubt about it.
Most definitely.
So, Atmosphere.
So, 2 days this year, or this
Okay.
coming year for 2026, we are going to a 2-day festival format.
Fire.
You know, for getting people here and, you know, making it a opportunity of, you know, the summer. Well, in this case, it'd probably be more towards fall, but we saw this year, it was summer until October.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, I wish we could have that weather back. But, you know, we're going to make it an opportunity. So, you know, like people are able to, you know, buy a pass and have 2 days of fun, you know. So with that, we're going to need a much bigger area to host that 2-day festival. So, we're going to have a location set up. Not going to announce that right now,
Okay.
but it is going to be outdoors. So it's going to be outdoors, 2 days, and multiple stages. So we're really gearing up for something completely pivotal to what we've been doing, but an adaptation.
Fire.
Yup.
Can't wait for it. You know, we going to be there. Whatever you need from us, just hit us.
Of course,
we
and
got
likewise,
you.
always.
You know, much success I with 570 Exotics, with Atmosphere. Can't wait to see everything. It sounds like a big year's coming up.
Of course.
So I'm super excited for that. DJ AR, 107.5 The Diamond. Listen, the Diamond District. We saying it. You hearing it. We changing some stuff around here. You know what I mean? Catch us on the new app, and we out.